right. So the person that you knew, Mr. Yoho, the husband of your assistant secretary, is the person in the company that got the subcontract 11 days after this original company, Safe America, was founded. That's the record. So I have a question. Did Mr. Lewandowski receive any compensation directly or indirectly from Safe America? I want to move on to the use of department resources. Senator Kennedy asked a number of questions about this contract, $220 million. Senator Schiff asked about it as well, and I do too. I don't want to question what the purpose was, but how the award was made. This is $220 million. It was an advertising campaign, as I understand it, that featured you, and you on a horse at Mount Rushmore. The contract was a no-bid contract. You acknowledge that?
I wasn't involved with this contracting process, so my understanding is that there was many companies that competed for this contract.
The answer to that is yes or no.
No. I don't believe it was. I believe other companies competed for this because there was two different vendors that were chosen.
I have here a document from usspending.gov. And this document specifically states the justification for no bid contract that goes to Safe America Media and People Who Think. Those are the two entities that did the campaign, correct?
I believe it is. I wasn't a part of this contracting process.
Let's get serious here, okay? Make the Safe America was incorporated 11 days or 7 days by my count before they got an award of $143 million. You have any dispute with that?
Are you talking about the subcontractor on that contract? Because we have
America.
Senator, I wasn't a part of this decision.
Okay.
We followed the same processes that have been our policies and how these was conducted appropriately.
I will go through this and then you can answer. I don't want us to be talking over each other. Safe America was incorporated 11 days or 7 days by my account before they got a $143 million contract. Now, as an administrator who has fiscal responsibility over a huge budget, do you realistically think that a company that was created 11 days before they got $143 million is in a position to execute on a $143 million contract?
Senator, I can't speak to their business model. I will tell you that since I've been at the department, I have reviewed over 10,000 contracts.
Okay,
I have saved the taxpayers over $13 billion
I want to go through this,
by
Madam Secretary.
renegotiating contracts and being more efficient.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want the filibuster, all right? And I want my time back. I'm not denying her a chance to answer. I'm asking you to deny her the abuse to filibuster. Okay.
Of that.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll go through this, all right? This is on a U.S. government website that says that contract for $143 million was a no-bid contract. Public documentation says the contract of $143 million went to the Safe America company, created 11 days before they got an award. That company then subcontracted with the strategy group, and you are familiar with many of the principals in the strategy group, correct?
I know one of them.
Mr. Yoho.
Yes.
And let me show you a photograph. That's Mr. Yoho standing next to you, correct?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Yoho is also the husband of your former spokesperson. Is that correct?
Correct.
Tricia McLaughlin.
Yes.
So your former assistant secretary and her husband are the ones that got the subcontract from Safe America. Or from Safe America. That's what the record shows. Any dispute about that?
No, except there was no politicals, myself or anyone else besides career employees who were a part of that process. Except for putting out those contracts and choosing
generous,
those vendors.
But what you have is the Republican operative.
Well, you're trying to insinuate that
I'm not insinuating. I'm stating a fact. The fact is
you're saying that I weighed in on this contracting process and I did not.
Mr. Chairman, The fact is that Mr. Yoho was married to your assistant secretary, is married, correct?
Yes, they are still married.
All right. And Mr. Yoho also ran an ad campaign for you in your gubernatorial campaign, correct?
Yes,
And he also attended your inauguration.
yes,
And Mr. Yoho received $8.5 million, or his company did, from the taxpayers of South Dakota when you ran an ad promotion showing you doing various jobs like a plumber and a dentist, correct?
again, that was done according to the law and processes at the state of South
I
Dakota.
understand, but
Yes,
this
well,
is a person that worked on your campaign. This is a person that worked on your media plan in South Dakota when you were governor, and this is a person who also worked on your memoir. Is that correct?
on my memoir?
And he worked with Mr. Lewandowski. Is that correct?
I don't know, sir. I don't know about the business
Mr.
arrangements they've had in the
Lewandowski
past.
is your special advisor.
Special government employee.
Right.
For the White
And
House.
Mr. Lewandowski brought Mr. Yoho into your camp. They had worked on the Louisiana governor's campaign, correct?
No, I knew Ben Yoho before that.
All right. So the person that you knew, Mr. Yoho, the husband of your assistant secretary, is the person in the company that got the subcontract 11 days after this original company, Safe America, was founded. That's the record. So I have a question. Did Mr. Lewandowski receive any compensation directly or indirectly from Safe America or from the strategy group?
Senator, I don't have any information to that. I can't speak to that.
Would that be of interest
think so.
for you to find out?
Sure.
Well, so will you ask Mr. Lewandowski, did he get any compensation directly or indirectly from these contracts?
Are you asking me to go ask him?
Yes, I am. Ask your special government advisor,
I can do that.
and you'll get back to us.
Get back to you. Yes,
All right,
absolutely.
we will want that.
In the closing moments of this hearing, the tension in the room crystallized around a single line of questioning that cut through the procedural language and the political talking points. Senator Peter Welch leaned forward and pressed directly on an issue that had already begun to echo throughout the chamber: the use of public funds and the process behind a $220 million advertising campaign tied to the Department of Homeland Security. What began as a discussion about a contract quickly evolved into something deeper: a confrontation over accountability, transparency, and the public trust. Welch's questions were simple on the surface, but the implications behind them were anything but. A contract worth hundreds of millions of dollars. A company reportedly formed just days before receiving a massive federal award. And a chain of relationships connecting political campaigns, government officials, and subcontractors tied to the project. Each fact, placed carefully into the record, built a picture that raised more questions than answers. The senator did not rely on speculation. Instead, he pointed directly to government documentation, records from a federal website showing that a $143 million contract had been issued without a competitive bidding process. That fact alone would be enough to spark scrutiny in any administration, in any political era. But Welch did not stop there. He traced the timeline: a newly created company, 11 days old by his calculation, before receiving an enormous federal contract. For Welch, the issue was not simply about whether the advertising campaign existed or even whether it served a purpose. His question was far more fundamental. How does a company with virtually no operating history suddenly become responsible for executing a contract of that scale? That moment captured something important about the role of congressional oversight. Hearings like this are not merely political theater, despite how they are sometimes portrayed. They are one of the few places where elected officials can force uncomfortable questions into the open, questions about the way government power is exercised and how public money is spent. As the exchange continued, Welch introduced another layer of concern: the connections between the individuals involved. A subcontractor, a strategist, a figure who had previously worked on political campaigns tied to the very official appearing before the committee. These details were not presented as accusations, but as facts drawn from the public record. And that distinction matters. In a democratic system, the line between politics and governance must remain clear. Campaigns operate on loyalty and alliances. Government, by contrast, must operate on fairness, transparency, and equal opportunity. When those worlds appear to overlap, even indirectly, it raises legitimate questions about whether public resources are being distributed based on merit or proximity to power. Secretary Kristi Noem repeatedly emphasized that she was not personally involved in the contracting process. She pointed to career staff, established procedures, and departmental policies. And in many ways, that response reflects a broader reality of modern government. Agencies are vast, bureaucratic systems where decisions often flow through multiple layers of authority. But oversight hearings exist precisely because responsibility cannot disappear inside that complexity. When billions of taxpayer dollars move through federal programs, the public deserves to know who approved them, how decisions were made, and whether the process was truly fair. These are not partisan questions. They are structural questions, questions about how democracy functions when government power and political influence intersect. Welch's final question captured that idea with quiet clarity. Did anyone connected to the project, including individuals tied to political advisory roles, receive compensation linked to these contracts? The secretary said she did not know, but she agreed to find out. That moment, simple as it may seem, reflects something essential about the American system. Oversight does not always produce immediate answers. Sometimes it produces something just as important, a public record. A demand for transparency, a commitment to return with facts rather than speculation. Because in the end, the strength of a democracy is measured not only by elections or speeches, but by the willingness of institutions to question themselves. Government power carries immense responsibility, and the greater the power, the greater the obligation to explain how that power is used. What happened in this hearing was not simply a disagreement between a senator and a cabinet official. It was a reminder that accountability is not optional. It is the foundation of public service. The American people fund these institutions. They trust that their tax dollars will be spent wisely. And they expect that when questions arise, leaders will respond with clarity rather than deflection. That expectation, simple, direct, and fundamental, is what drives hearings like this one. And it is why moments like these matter. Because transparency is not merely a political slogan. It is the safeguard that protects public confidence in government itself. As this story continues to unfold, one thing remains certain. Oversight does not end when the cameras stop rolling. The questions raised here will follow the process forward, through documents, records, and answers that may yet come. In a democracy, sunlight is not an inconvenience. It is the mechanism that keeps power accountable. And that accountability depends on citizens who are paying attention. If you believe transparency in government matters, stay informed. Subscribe to Liberty Report USA and support our work to expose the truth.